Hello again everyone, Dr. Dan Bachman here. Today we're going to go over a rehab drill or an exercise called an eccentric wall squat. So eccentric is a fancy word. It just means going slow on the down part of the movement, and we'll explain why we do that in a minute. And we're going to use a Swiss ball or yoga ball as kind of a support for your back. So we'll be doing this against a wall. The size of the ball really doesn't matter, so small is easier, but a big one would work too. And of course, this is an exercise that strengthens your thigh muscles, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes. I use it as part of my low back rehab program, or knee or hip, even foot and ankle. Anytime when we're trying to add in some strengthening work, whether it's after a surgery or for someone who just wants to get in better shape, this is a great starting. It's a great version of a squat before you decide to try adding weight. And you can do it at home. So to do it, I put the ball against the wall, back up against it, and it'll fit right in the small of your back. So there's a little curve there already. That's where the ball goes. I'm going to put my feet about shoulder width and then do a test squat first. Really all I'm looking for is what's the right placement for my feet front to back. So what I generally say is when you're at the bottom of a squat, and by the way, squat form, there's a lot of debate about it, but here are my general rules that I give my patients. So in general, when you do a squat, it'll feel like your butt's sticking out behind you and you're hinged forward at the waist a little. So it kind of looks like this. So I'm at the bottom of my squat. Thighs parallel to the floor is a good depth, I think, to get to. You can go deeper, but in general, it's a little easier to control where your thighs are even with the floor than trying to go deeper. So it's a good place to start. I'd say generally keep back straight, hinge forward at the waist a little, and keep all the weight on your heels. And the ball behind you is really just a guide. I'm not pushing back into it really hard, which if I stepped way out in front, I would be leaning on the ball really hard. What we want is when you're at the bottom of your squat, whatever the depth is you can get to, your knees are maybe in line with your toes, straight up and down, but not way out in front and not feet way out in front. So do a test squat first. Like here, my knees and toes are in the same plane. So this is a good starting place. Then I'll say spend about 6 seconds getting to whatever depth you can get to under control. So really slow on the down, and then return at normal speed, pushing mostly through your heels. So keeping most of the weight on your heels as opposed to your toes just means you're using your glutes a little bit more. Glutes often get neglected in some squats. So down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and right back up, and repeat. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right back up. So it's that simple. So what my instructions for most patients are, keep doing reps like this until you reach a medium burn somewhere. Like a muscle burn from, I'm using that muscle, I can feel it's getting a little fatigued. Keep doing reps until you get to a medium burn somewhere, whether it's the front, the back, doesn't matter. Then pause, catch your breath completely, and then do one more set just like that. So you're doing 2 sets. Each set ends when you reach a medium burn. And I'll always prefer doing a few deeper ones than a whole bunch of shallow ones. So for example, I could do really short squats, right? I could do hundreds of these. They're not going to pay off nearly as much if I do 100 of those than if I did a few super deep ones like this. And I like slow. The reason for the slow down, number one, it makes it safer. It's hard to hurt yourself in slow motion. Number two, it builds strength faster because you're in the lift longer. And it builds more control because it takes more precision to go slowly than it does quick and jerky. So it's just a great all-around way to make any exercise safer, get a little bit more out of it, is exaggerate the down part of that movement. So hope that's helpful. Until next time, I will see you guys.